Hey folks, it's Ben. I'm here with our 2002 Pontiac Grand Prix GT, but for a different reason. I'm starting a new playlist called the Barnyard Crawl, where I go over all of my cars that I have every day in detail and do the RPO codes like I do in the Junkyard Crawl video series. If you're not familiar with that, go ahead to the end of this video and there'll be a link to that playlist as well as the new one here. We'll start off with this 2002 Pontiac Grand Prix GT. It was purchased, I think, around 2008 by my not then wife as a replacement car for, I believe, a minivan. And a quick look on the outside of the car shows it has the really cool tri-spoke wheels. I am completely in love with these wheels. They are just super fantastic. It shows a little age on the nose. It is a standard GT nose and has the plate filler. There are no front plate requirements in Alberta. I have been fighting lens water issues in this, and they cloud up about once a year, so I have to go and take them off. This car was in a accident front and rear, so the bumpers are not original. They're actually green underneath the paint. You can tell by the small corners and stuff like that where the brown paint is flaked off, and my hood, which might be original, has had body filler on it, so it got kind of squished and they brought it back and filled it in. But it is a fairly neat car. Most of the cars featured on the channel have the logo on them. And this side has the Grand Prix GT badging. I'm not sure it says GT on the other side. One thing the car is missing, however, well, more than just the cladding, is the rocker panels. The rocker panels are just gone. They're structurally, it's fine. Everywhere where the struts are and exhaust and everywhere it needs to be good, it's good. Like with the front subframe to body is great, but the rocker panels just decided to leave the chat. So when one fell off, the other one was not far behind. Once again, I do have all four wheels, and I did change the lug nuts from the plastic caps to chrome, just because it's a pain in the butt to do lug caps, then the lugs, and blah blah again. So I just went right to chromes. The rear end, not the original bumper either, and if you notice, it's kind of down on this right side. I believe my wife had, when she was still driving it, backed into a curb, kind of ripped the bumper a little bit there. So I can't even take fame for that one. So otherwise, it's a four-door GT. We'll start off with the interior of the car to kind of see what it has, and we'll look at the door jamb here. It's missing a sticker here, and we have our build date manufactured by General Motors, and it's got an 0402 build date, so that's pretty cool. And it is riding on... it doesn't actually have the tire size here, so that's it. One thing you'll notice is these silver stickers on my rocker panel. They are actually from a 40th anniversary Grand Prix I found out at Junkyard. So I peeled mine off, which were just black. They said Pontiac, but they were just all black. Put the silver on them, so that was kind of neat. Let's get in the car. For options, we're doing a lot of stuff here. Let's just kind of go around the cab. We do have power windows with lockout and power locks, and we have electric remote mirrors on each side, and we have a speaker up here, so that's kind of cool. So we kind of pan over to the dash, you'll notice that, oh gee. So long story short, I had to change the ignition cable on that. This car is well known on YouTube, and there's a plate that covers this, and I tried to get it back on, but it was kind of getting in the way of the blinker. Then the blinker broke, so I actually have to have it the hazard lights zip down for the blinkers to even work like they're supposed to. And honestly, when you're sitting behind the wheel, you can't see it, so I don't bother. But apparently everyone else... Oh, did your car get broken into? No, that's just me. We have our switch for the fog lights here. It does have Twilight Sentinel, but this is your on-off for that. And your interior dimmer switch. We do have cruise control and delay wipers and blinkers and brights. And it does have tilt wheel, which I don't like to actuate because it messes with the blinker twist tie. That's awesome. It did have a lower kick panel at one point in time, but once again, it's one of the things you can't see, so why put it back in? Just leave it like that. I don't have the driver information control center. I just have the lights that are awesome. And I also have... This is the factory radio, so it is the fancy radio that I try to match all my other cars with because it is fantastic. I love the radio. And then a lot of videos on my climate control system as well. Actually, I was driving with my daughter, so we had different temperatures going on. That works great. But it is manual controls, but it is split zone, so that's pretty cool as well. And then of course the cool Pontiac steering wheel, which kind of makes it awesome. It does have dual airbags as well. And you will not find the RPO codes in here, but you will find, I believe there's a fuse panel over there, and it does have a trunk, electric trunk release that's located right here. And yeah, just insurance and the manual that are in it. I use this, which you've also seen videos on, the little ODB2 reader. I plug it in. I'm changing the thermostat here shortly because my temperature only gets to about 170, and that's annoying when you're trying to defrost your broken windshield here. Rear view mirror and map lights that are there, and you can throw your sunglasses. It's got these cool pockets, which have nothing in them. Do I have a lighted mirror? No, I don't have a lighted mirror. Does the passenger have a lighted mirror? No, as well. Okay, so we don't have the lighted mirror option. We do have the failing weather stripping option. That's cool. It did have carpet floor mats at one time, but it's mostly going to work with me, so I rarely have passengers, so I just took them out. I run one on this side to keep the mud off the carpet, but really I don't use them at all. It is a 4-speed transmission, but we'll get into that more in the hood of the car. Coming back to the back seat, there's really nothing special. Every door has got its own window control. And it does have a pass-through to the trunk. So it's here, and if I had my key on me, you could just turn the key and get into the trunk. It's neat that it's locked like that, though. And when it is down, I believe there were cup holders and stuff here that the kids like to use. It had back floor carpets as well that are no longer here either. It does have a rear window defrost. That's a Canadian option. I didn't realize that most Canadian cars come with that fundamentally. So what have we got on board here? Oh, these are for a Chevy Uplander. They are the seat, kind of, they go between the seats and they give you a cup holders for that, but there's a junkyard pole right there. So here we have our RPO codes, and I'm just gonna hold it here for 10 seconds so I can scroll what's going on there. And it looks like I've got my tire information on the other side of the trunk. Are we done here? Are they done scrolling? We'll assume they're done scrolling. So I got tire sizes. So we're 225 60/16s, pretty much a default W body size for these cars. All of them, Buicks, Monte Carlos, Luminas, you name it. And then, oh, what's this? It's another RPO code. But this is not the factory. In fact, it's even turned. This is not the factory. It's not even bolted down. This is not the factory cover for the trunk. I actually spilled some oil back here, and they're carpeted, and it just soaked the whole thing. So I'm like, ugh, this is gross. So what I actually ended up doing is take this off the 96 Bonneville I have, and I use it as my floor. And so that's the RPO codes to the Bonneville. You'll see that in a later video. It does have a cargo net and 6x9s where the tape has finally come off. Good video for that. Aftermarket 6x9s, which are actually fantastic. Best upgrade ever on the stock radio. They just make the bass boom. No trunk light. It has a power trunk release, but it does not have a trunk light. That is annoying because I've done a variety of stick-on, battery operated, but usually when you're in here in the wintertime, it's dark and it just, yeah, you can't. That's transmission oil for that truck in a little bit. So that's the trunk tour. It does have the rear spoiler. They really look naked without the spoiler. If you've noticed Grand Prix without them, the SEs and the lower end models, spoiler just kind of finishes the butt. Nothing special on this side, except it's got kids, and of course it's got the clothing hangers on each side and compartment lights and third brake lights and stuff like that. It does have, in case you weren't aware, if you look tucked in your seats, these little seatbelt adjusters that can actually help when you have smaller people sitting in your car to lower where the belt connects to. So that's kind of neat. And then on this side, once again, the mirror, I'm gonna have to glue this back up. It failed on the driver's side, so I had to glue it on, and of course the passenger side was on its way as well. Otherwise, nothing special on this side. This is the little tool here. I actually use the phone I'm using to shoot this with. I have my ODB2 connector, and it shows me some data that I need about the car, fuel economy and stuff like that. We've already been in there. It's not really much more to do. There's a power port to the lower left here. Great for Bluetooth connectivity to my phone that kicks out a radio transmitter. So I never listen to radio anymore. I listen to Spotify on my phone. pretty light on data, and it works out pretty good. The distinctiveness of my car around town would be the fact that it says Pontiac across the front, and no one else in town has that. So that's kind of neat. Not saying I live in a place that's got a lot of people in it, but it is kind of a stylistic thing. And then under the hood, we have the Series 2 3800. Recently washed, actually, so it actually is looking pretty spiffy. Lots of videos, lots and lots of videos on this here. I actually have a bolt for this now. Going to the junkyard enough to I've had it out because that's the only way you can get the battery out, is to actually remove this bar, and I've had it out enough. It's kind of a pain. It's got new coils, it's got new wires, new wash, let's say. It's got 211,000 kilometers on it, so that's going to be how many ever miles. We are running ABS. It does have air conditioning that is not charged at the moment, so it does not work. But we've got the brake system, the alternator. So I put not the KO5. It does have the KO5 block heater in it. That's another Canadian type of variant. But whatever amperage that is, it's been replaced by a Napa unit. I'm sure I bought the right one at the time, so that's less cool right there. This is supposed to be clicked into something, it looks like. Anyway, so it does have power steering, ABS, the 4T60E transmission, and it's had a variety of mass airflow sensors in this car. It doesn't do super great with them, I'll be honest with you. Even now, if you've been driving it for a while and it's hot and you shut it down and you wait about an hour, it really has a hard time on that heat soak start. It'll kick right over again, like if you shut it down and then fire it right back up, no issue. And if it's been sitting overnight, no issue. It's just that kind of that 1 to 3 hour range that you really got to feather the pedal a little bit to get it going. So I've still been kind of hunting that down. I'm wondering if it's because I'm so cheap on the sensors. So I got some factory ones from the junkyard. We'll swap in there, see if we can help with that. And I think that's it for this car. Has your regular 3.8 liter and sort of thing. Like I said, delay wipers and not many mods. Stock air filter. I've, in my older age, get less into the K&N sportiness and the extra 2 to 3 horsepower because I'd like it to start and go to work. It has been in an accident at some point. Well, we already knew that, but they either replaced that bracket or just broke this one, but it's cracked somewhere. So I'm thinking if I can find one at the junkyard, it would be great to replace those. But those are some of the most expensive things to get at the junkyard. Same with the tail lamps. Every Grand Prix in the junkyard, you can't see these because I drive on the gravel every day. They're cracked, and when you wash the car, you can kind of see the mud wash down, but you can't like take the outer lens out. Well, I guess you could, but I'd want to buy a crappy set to test it on. But there's a layer between this outer layer and the red brake assembly, and so you can't like just take it off, clean it, put it back. I don't think. I haven't seen anybody do it successfully, especially with these being so fragile. So I just deal with fairly muddy tail lamps. But if you have any questions on this car, go ahead and ask them. Actually, look it up on the internet. There's like 34 videos on this Pontiac Grand Prix on how to change this and how to do that, CV axles and all that crazy stuff. Also, if you have any comments, like that rust is crazy. I know it's crazy. I really don't like to take the kids anywhere in it. The kid seats are in it. That's only because the vehicle I usually use, the van, doesn't need them. So I just keep it in this car because occasionally I'll meet the wife in town with a kid and take the kid home. I'll use this car because it's what's around. But and thanks for watching this video. It's kind of a redundant video because I've been here for at this point 13 years, and so I've been driving it for 13 years, so it's not new to me, but it's new to you maybe. So there you go. And I guess we'll leave it 20 seconds for cards, and we'll see you next time. One of the first things I had my wife do when she got her Cricket was, I need Pontiac across the top of this thing. And these are, I think they're about 3 years old. There's a video on it, of course. But they have held up great. I did it at the same time. We put a Pontiac logo on the back that was red with the white. And the red, it wasn't car vinyl, it was just vinyl. And it did fade out to pink and spotted and stuff, so we ended up taking that off. But the white has just held on. And I don't scrape it or anything. You see there's a little bit on there on the edge, but really, you're gonna nitpick the end when A, it's normally this dirty, and B, that. But I can never sell this car. The wheels are worth it to me, I just have to keep them.